Well, let's update your news here on KCIM with News Director Nathan Combs.
Thank you very much, John, and good morning, everyone. A Guthrie Center man was killed yesterday afternoon after he was struck by a pickup truck while riding his bicycle. According to the Iowa State Patrol, that crash occurred at approximately 5:38 p.m. on Highway 44 east of Bluff Street on the east side of Guthrie Center. The initial investigation found a 2013 Ford F-150 operated by 83-year-old Francis Jr. Flannery of Panora was traveling westbound on Highway 44 and collided with a bicycle ridden by 69-year-old Wayne Wesley Hayes of Guthrie Center. Authorities say Hayes was riding in the traveled portion of the roadway when the Flannery truck struck him. Hayes was transported to Guthrie Center Hospital by Guthrie County Emergency Medical Services for treatment, but later died due to his injuries. The Guthrie County Sheriff's Office also assisted at that scene, and an investigation into the fatal crash is ongoing. The reforms to Iowa's area education agencies proposed by Governor Kim Reynolds at the beginning of the 2024 session are getting significant overhauls after pushback from teachers, parents, and school administrators opposed to the bill. At the beginning of January, Reynolds announced her plan to return the AEAs to their original mission of providing special education services. Reynolds says there's an unacceptable achievement gap among students who most often utilize AEA services.
The system, as it stands today, is failing our students with disabilities. And when you look at, there's a lot of data that can point to that. On the NAEP score, the national score, we actually ranked 30th and below in 9 out of 12 assessments for the last 5 years. And then if you look at our state assessment in spring of 2023, our students with disabilities actually scored a 41% proficiency gap with students with disabilities and all other students. And then we can, point to the U.S. Department of Education, who has, since 2018, classified Iowa as designated us as needs assistance.
Iowa spends about $5,300 per student above the national average, and Reynolds says that makes the low scores worse by comparison. Her initial bill would have removed many AEA services not associated with special education, like staff professional development and media services. Reynolds says her proposal seeks accountability for those tasked with educating Iowa's children.
We should be looking, continually evaluating, just like a business does, how we provide these services, what are the costs of these services, is there innovative ways that we can do them better, and most importantly, we should have metrics and we should be measuring them against the outcomes that we're getting. Every single data point says we're failing these kids. We can do better. And it's not a fact of pouring more money into the system because we're already spending more than the national average, yet we're getting poorer results.
Reynolds says she has heard Iowans' concerns about her initial reform proposal and is putting forward significant amendments to the legislation. She says nearly all of the AEA's offered services will continue, excluding media services, but school districts will be in the driver's seat when it comes to where funding goes. Current Iowa law has the school function as a pass-through for state and federal funding to the AEAs. Reynolds says elected school boards will have now more say on where that funding is used if the bill is passed.
We are the only state in the country that takes all of the funding. So for this year, it's $529 million into the special education pot. And we're the only state that takes that funding and we bypass the school districts and give that directly to the AEA. That's state and that's federal and that's special education services and media. All goes directly to the AEA. And then we mandate that the schools use the AEA for those services. So if you're happy with the services that you're getting, that's great. But if you happen to be not satisfied with the services and what you're receiving, then you should have an option. But the really concerning thing that we discovered in all of this, no school district, no school board member has any idea what they're paying for these services.
According to Reynolds, the Carroll Community School District receives about $1.1 million in federal and state special education funding. Reynolds says under her new proposal, the district hypothetically could spend $900,000 of that money with the local AEA, but then hold on to the remaining $200,000 to pay special education teachers a higher salary, hire additional paraeducators, or utilize services found within their own community. She says the decision-making power is returned to local school officials, which is a critical part of her reform. Legislators in the House and Senate are scheduled to review the proposed changes this week. Governor Reynolds did make her comments during an interview with Carroll Broadcasting yesterday morning, and the House and Senate bills in their entirety can be found included with the story on our website. And a quick follow-up to that, the Senate Education Subcommittee did pass the amended bill through their subcommittee hearing yesterday. So it's a big hurdle for that to make it to the floor for general debate, but a long road yet for the reform to make it into law. But that is going to be wrapping up your KCIM 7 o'clock news. I'm Nathan Cones reporting.
All right. Thanks, Nathan, for that news update. Once again, your local news and all of that can be found at a touch of our mobile app. Just download that in your app store by searching KCIM or Carroll Broadcasting. Find out the news, the weather, the sports, podcasting, streaming, wherever you happen to be from. You'll always stay in touch with what's happening here locally with that mobile app. So download that for free today.